Hey, what's up YouTube? Sal with Unified Racing coming back again today to talk a little bit more about Deliverance, what's been going on with Deliverance, why you haven't seen it. So basically what I'm going to do is talk about the tuner that I installed here some time ago. So I did install a JB4. I also upgraded to a 3.5 bar T-map, which allows me to run higher than normal boost. Why I decided on the JB4 and a few other things that I did here in the last couple months. So with that being said, everyone has a preference on tuners. BMW people, BMW drivers, BMW owners that want to tune their cars, JB4 is a very, very good option. When I bought this car, it already had a tune in it. And one of the things that, because I didn't know what tuner was in there, I know it had a tune because it was running 15 PSI. JB4 is one of those tuners on the market that allows you to piggyback on top of a previously installed tune, which is why I'm now running somewhere between 19 and 20 PSI. Obviously those numbers will go up. It's still running the stock turbo, so I want to make sure that I wasn't completely chancing grenading the engine before I go and have it retuned here this next spring. With that being said, there's a ton of other options out there, right? So if you want to go MHT, if you want to go cob tuning, you can go those routes, and they're going to have similar effects. For myself, at the same token, I just have a preference for JB4. So this particular JB4, I'd also purchased the Bluetooth module. So as you'll see here in just 1 minute, I have some pretty cool options with the Bluetooth module. So I'll kind of go through those with you. This is just a review, a little refresher on where Deliverance is at the time being. And without further ado, let's get to it. All right, as you can tell, Deliverance looks a little bit different. So here this fall here in Minnesota, on a nice cool day, I decided to do some spirited driving, ended up blowing both my rear tires. So now that it's winter here and I have some time, and it's not really important what wheels are on it because this isn't going to see snow, I put just the stock ones back on. But we'll kind of go through the JB4 now. All right, so on top of that, we put our Berger Motorsports, or our BMS, basically intake on here. It's one of the highest rated intakes as far as reviews go. And they're cheap. I think it's $200, right? You can go to Berger Motorsports, you can buy it. You can buy it through ECS Tuning or a number of other places. So I took the engine shroud off. It just pulls off anyways. I also updated. I went with colder plugs, and then I did performance coils through Bavarian Autosport. That may have to be redone. So depending on what this coil actually is, if it's a Delphi or if it's a different brand coil, I have seen some issues in regards to that. And then if we come over here, right, so once I get the car up on the lift, I'll take all this off because we're going to talk about the alternator, which is right here, and that you do not have to take off the oil filter assembly, and you do not have to take off your intake manifold to get this, I'm just going to say it, the stupid alternator out of there. Basically, this particular plug right here, if you shave off maybe a 1/4 inch of this plug, which is ginormous, this alternator pulls right out. You don't have to do this, and you don't have to do that. Saves you money, saves you time. You got better things to do than work on an alternator. So this right here is my JB4. It goes down, this particular side goes to my T-map sensor, which is for boost. But as you can tell, it's just a piggyback system. There's four plugs on it. So you just basically unplug the factory harness, plug this one in, plug it back into the factory, and then you're good to go. Everything is stored in here as well. So the actual JB4 tuner is right in my ECU. So again, once the car goes on the lift, I'm going to take that off and just show you what it is. So basically the only wires that I had to tie into were the CAN bus wires. As this car already had a tuner on it, those wires were readily accessible. but yeah, so you're not, it's super, super, super easy. And even if Burger Motorsports sent you the wrong harness or the wrong parts, their DIYs online, their step-by-step instructions, literally by picture, show you how to fix that. So without further ado, let's at least jump on the inside here. Make sure I got my key, it's right there. Okay. Okay, so I went with the Samsung. You can basically do whatever you would like to. So I went with the Samsung anyways. So with this, we just go over, we go to our JB4 apps. So on top, if you do the Bluetooth module, this application I think was like, I don't know, 30-40 bucks, something like that. You basically just plug it in, validates the pin, and there we go. All right, so it's live. So even though it's warm in my shop, we'll see what she has to do. So let's see, we got boost, air fuel, trim. So maybe we'll just do attack, so you guys can see that, RPM, intake air temperature. We won't need G-force because we're in the shop. So basically when you hook up CAN bus, any of these items right here, right? So if we take a look, I mean, the number of options that you have through CAN bus is pretty amazing. And if you add on additional sensors, if you do other things, basically this is gonna help you fine tune your car. So if we look up here, same thing, this will, if I had a code, it would display here. It doesn't give you a lot of information, but it will give you the code, so you can just pull that up and Google search that. And it also gives you where I can read, I can save codes, or I can delete codes, which comes in really handy when you're tuning a car and you push it into limp mode, something like that. So that's another cool option. So if we go into settings here, so on the top you can see that we have gauges, logs, codes, settings. So right now it's on map 2, map 6, right? It's pretty simple. If I were to go into map 6, that's going to be my fully tunable map. Map 0 is a bypass. If we go back here, we can hit cancel, and then there's an advanced. So for example, I went and swapped out my factory boost control sensor, and so if we go to user adjustment, so right now if we take a look at map 6, so again this is all fully tunable. So map 6 is going to start talking about what my boost goal is per se. And then if we come back down here, we have a ton, right? So my fail-safe boost set at 21, wastegate, max boost. So we have a ton of options on here, and I'm not screwing with this a ton as of right now. Basically I had to, I think, let's cancel out of this. If we go into app settings, it's not that, so let's go back. Alright, so that's all set up. Don't touch unless instructed. Well, let's just go to this user adjustment. So even in this user adjustment, right, we have a number of different options. We can load configurations. It obviously says this is an N55. So basically, when you start going through all the options, that's going to tell you how to change sensors, how to change this, how to change that. So the reason I went with this is it was just a personal preference. The Bluetooth module, I think the gauges look really good. You can switch the gauges to more analog. You can turn them different colors. You can do all kinds of stuff. So, without further ado, if we start this puppy up. much boost we're putting out, air fuel ratio, we have our trim, oil temp, intake temp. So as it's Bluetooth, there is a slight delay in your readout. However, as far as like if I were to go and log this, you know, it's gonna collect all that data for you. So for myself, this was just a personal preference. I really enjoy it. Hopefully by the time I upgrade the turbos and everything like that, then this is going to become even more handy as a tool. You can add this to like your regular phone. You can, you know, lots of options, right? Is this the only option? No, this is not the only option. Is this the best option? Well, this is the option that I wanted. So if it's your car and you want something different, by all means do that. So again, JB4 with the Bluetooth module. So if you just run a regular, what is it, a VGA cable or a serial cable from, in which case you would have to route it from your controller all the way into the car. Most of the time it'll go in your glove box. If you were to do that, then at that aspect, it would plug into your laptop and you'd be controlling your JB4 through your laptop. I didn't want to do that. Not that that would have been overly hard, but that was just something that I decided to do. So with that being said, we're going to take a pause here and then we'll get back into a few other aspects of the car. I wanted to touch on this really quick too. So obviously this isn't going to hash it for like super high horsepower numbers, but so basically this is an adapter. Got it on Amazon. It's like 30 bucks. So it shoves into your CD, you know, where your CD goes. It can tighten down. It's got basically little flippers in there that flip up and kind of lock it into where your CD holder goes. I haven't had any issues, but I mean 300-400 horse is a little bit different than if you're running super high horsepower. With that being said, I just wanted to talk about that if someone was asking how I got my tablet to mount where it is. So if you're running a Pure 2 and maybe you're up to 550 wheel horse, maybe that's a good option for you. Okay, so we kind of talked about it, and I'm not going to get way into anything right now. Once the car goes on the lift and I start taking some stuff apart, I will physically take the time anyways to at least show you how you can get your alternator out without having to undo seals, right? Once you undo seals, then you're supposed to replace them. So say you just changed your oil, for example. That's where I looked online, they're saying intake manifold, oil filter assembly. I had just changed the oil, and I told myself that there is no way that I'm breaking that seal and get to change my oil for the second time within 100 miles. So that's why I did it the way that I did it, right? You know, work smarter, not harder. Back to the car, right? We don't really care about the wheels. I still have the other wheels. Need some new skins for them. Got some K2 Racing coilovers, so now hopefully I can adjust the camber enough to where I'm not running on 25% of the tread, which would be good. So hopefully when time permits, we'll be maybe hopefully Brad and Callum will be here to help assist with that. But again, if you know anyone or if you're interested, right? So we have stickers still available. We have these pretty sweet t-shirts still available. So you just send a message, put a link on there. And if you haven't already, you need to click the like, click subscribe, and give us your comments and feedback. If you have some other items that you've done to your N55 powered BMW, I'm more than willing to hear that. You know, right now, quite honestly, I was maybe looking at selling Deliverance and trying to find another N54 just for the tunability and the fact that the internals are a little bit different, but the decision's been made. So this video is taken right before Thanksgiving. I hope you guys all have a very, very awesome Thanksgiving. Even with 2020, I hope you get to see your family. With that being said, support your local race shop, support your local racetrack. Make sure that you come in, you subscribe, like, share, and I'll talk to you guys later.